pitch me a film starring only YouTube movie reviewers as the leads and supporting actors.
Oh my god. Where do you even go with something like this?
Yeah. Hey, just like if you wanna take an existing concept that you've seen in a film, you'd be like, I thought of something with YouTube movie reviews. Fine, it's a bit of fan fiction.
Like,
let's see who comes up with.
I got an idea.
All right. Pardon? Sorry, I'll get to you, Tim. But what did you say there?
Any YouTubers? Like YouTubers?
YouTube movie reviewers. So like, hey, as long as I can type their name and find out that they actually review movies, it's good. All right, Tim.
Okay, so I'm going to adapt the idea from This Is the End. And I would like to see a movie that is in the style of This Is the End, which is essentially just a post-apocalyptic world movie, and it's pretty much a buddy movie because that is personality-oriented. And the movie reviewers I'm going to use are the people that the general audience wants to go watch. No offense to you guys, but I'm going to use I'm going to use the big four, which is it's John Flickster, Chris Duckman, the Schmoes, and Jeremy Johns. And shit goes awry, and I'll go more into that later, but that's my idea. It is an end-of-the-world scenario. The last four people on this earth, or are they? And and let me tell you, movie references are going to be a big part in this movie. And all four of those guys are four different types of people, including the Schmo, so maybe it's five. So, yeah.
All right. That's one hell of a pitch. 5 different types of people. Let me just note that down. I will say that Tim automatically loses because he didn't mention Ramstor, so...
I'm sorry, no, I definitely would have...
Joking. I'm joking.
You know.
Do I? I don't know. But, Dave, do you have your pitch? Chase, do you have your pitch?
Yeah, I do.
Alright, Chase. Alright, Dave, I'll give you it. Go.
So, we are taking an adaptation of last year's Snowpiercer. In the front of the train, instead of the rich, we have the big people, like Tim mentioned. You have the Johns, you have the Schmoes, you have the Stuckman, you have the Flick Pick, those guys. In the back of the train, we have the lower people, us, everyone on this panel, including you, Ram. Then we have Ash, we have Ryan, we have Cinema Darling, we got, who else we got? We got Theo, we got Jordan Miller, we'll take even Ian Black in the chat. We got everyone. And we're going to try and take over the YouTube. We're going to take over the YouTube train. Slowly, each minute, we are moving up. Along the way, we start to recruit people that are slightly bigger than us, but not on the same level as the big YouTubers. So you take people that sort of abandon YouTube reviewing. You take people like pretty much Eric Strickler. You get that entire gang. You move on, you grab Double Toasted. You move on a bit, you get Your Movie Sucks, who's like the big guy, but he's in the corner of the big guys. He's like the big guy's traitor, because none of them likes him at all, and he doesn't like them at all. So he joins us, he lets us into the front of the train, we destroy the big YouTubers, and we take back the battle.
I want both these films.
Can I watch that?
Yeah. I want both these films, oh my god. Dave, come on.
Yeah. Alright, I got some. Alright. So I'm gonna do a Face Off 2, the movie. How? Alright. So John Flickster, not saying anything bad, saying that Chris Stuckman, he's like, damn, he's got more subs. So you know what? Let me switch his face. And so he kidnaps them, they switch faces, and then he controls the channel. He's the brains of it all. Now he gets all the power. Now Chris Stuckman as the flick pick, he's gotta make his way back and to get his channel. And to get his channel back. Yeah.
This is the best question you've ever asked.
Thank you.
And hell yeah, you could he can call up Jeremy Johns and Black Nerd to come down and try and help him, to take it back.
All right.
I don't know. I love these movies though.
I will say, like, Jordan Miller blew my mind. He was just like, we should run a Kickstarter for these films. I'm like, yes, we should. All three. Yeah, trilogy. This is the trilogy.
That's the thing. Is like, do we have to say anything negative? I vote for all.
They're all solid.
Can we all get a point at least?
Oh, that's a tempting thing, but I would like you to fight. Basically, So we have this is the end plot versus Snowpiercer plot versus the face-off plot. I will say first of all, I like, because this is really you're pitching me. I'm the producer. I'm the person that's going to be like, yeah, I'm greenlighting this. This is the end plot. I really like that they're staying true to who they are and they're just the same person. Snowpiercer plot. Are they playing themselves or are they playing characters?
We're playing characters here.
Okay, cool. So it's a different approach to the characters in the film. On a face-off, it's dialed down. It's not as an epic a scale as the other two. And I like the focus that it's going to be a story-driven story, something to do with the flick pick hating the fact that Stuckman has more slots. Alright, so Tim, since you started off with this is the end, I'm going to let you attack the other picks, maybe question the other two, see how they hold up.
So let me just go on my backstory and why I chose what I chose. These guys are very well known, and they're obviously subbed for a reason. People love them. People love who they are. Each of them brings a different personality in the film. And in my film, it's very similar to This Is the End. They're all going to be called their names. They're all going to be exactly who they are in real life, but they're going to be acting. It's not going to be like a reality show or anything like that. But they are going to be a dialed up or just pretty much who they are version of themselves. And what happens in this film is, and I'm glad you brought up a similar idea to mine where along the way you meet other people. With mine, there's a lot more mystery. With the Snowpiercer route, you're only restricted to those who you have on the train. With my film, I have an open-ended world to include any cameos I want. And so you focus on these very big people, but there's room to bump into people like you, me, Dave, Ram. It's endless, and there's opportunities to interact with these people. You have the higher ups and the people who watch them and stuff. For all you know, they could be really nice, or they could end up like Danny McBride with Channing Tatum at the end of This Is the End. So there's a lot more different interactions rather than starting with someone who is trying to rise up from the top. Rather than looking at these villains, there's more opportunities to have more people like that. In terms of face-off, I think that's a very smaller scale film. You're focusing on two people, and let's say I am I'm talking about audience now. If I can I argue audience?
Sure, yeah. Okay,
so if I'm going to watch this movie, I would have to know who those two people are, and I don't know if having to see John Flickster trying to get Chris Stuckman's account.
Okay, I'll say we'll make it so that the audience for these films are basically us, people who love film, and are aware of everyone. That just makes it fair. So we have all the same audience. So yeah, there we go.
Fair enough. I retract that.
Okay.
I will say that film is very small scale. To me, there aren't as many high stakes because it's just about subscribers. Nothing really bad has happened. There's none of that screenplay magic that is, like, if it was something bigger than that, like maybe someone has taken over, like maybe if The Purge was happening at the same time, something like that, I think that film has a lot more gravitas. But as of now, the face-off idea in terms of getting channel and subs and stuff like that, it just seems a little small scale.
All right. Dave, please attack the other two.
Now, for both of you, I kind of feel like it would be the same, saying that, like, the same idea. And who knows how long these movies would be, because I feel like in This Is the End, the actual movie, their actors, they portray the play, they're playing themselves, but they're still, acting. I feel like if you got all these guys together, I feel like Jeremy Johns, I think they would all kill each other in the matter of 5 minutes, maybe. Like Jeremy Johns would like to hold the camera.
Doesn't that make it fun?
But then the movie would last 2 seconds. No, I'm just saying, like, Jeremy Johns would hold and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And Chris Tucker would be like, "Whoa, hey, buddy, let's share." And
that's a good scene.
And then everyone would be like, "Whoa, hold on," and then they would all kill each other, and that's the end of the movie. And you're like, "Oh man, I paid to see a 5-minute movie," and then the money wouldn't, do so well, and the word of mouth would get out there, and just wouldn't be as good. I don't know. That's just what I think. And for what was the other one?
Snowpiercer, Star Wars.
Snowpiercer, that's right. And who knows? Maybe it could happen for that one. This is just like, oh, all right, Jeremy Jahns, you're the first one to die in this movie, and who knows? Maybe you're not then get like all set. It might not even happen because of that. I don't know. I'm just pulling out bullshit right now. To be honest with you, I really want to see these movies.
Fair enough. So. Now, Chase, this is you might love this question, but this is the hardest question. I did not expect these pitches, guys. I was like, someone's like, two of them are gonna like struggle. One of them's gonna give me a semi-average pitch, but damn. Chase, please.
All right. Right off the bat, I'll just counter-argue what Dave was trying to say, where he's like, oh, we could kill Jeremy Jahns within 5 minutes. But here's the thing. Jeremy Jahns at the front of that train. He's like the prime captain of those guys. He's the top of the top. You have to take the tension and build up, moving up the train into that scene of finally getting to Jahns and taking him out. First off, I said I'm making it characters, but I'm sort of going like the Birdman approach in a way, where it's like it's an obvious metaphor that Michael Keaton was Batman. It's an obvious metaphor that we're the lower compared to these people. We move up our way. There's tension building. It's sort of like a dramatic comedy in a way, but more focused on drama. It's comedy in the sense of like it's meta, but it's also got that dramatic moments, like sort of the leader of the smaller group, right? I'd say Art has probably, if I had to take a guess off the top of my head, the most subs out of like a little group. Art dies first. We start to panic. What do we do next? Who do we turn to in the situation? And then we go, Ram, you're a great leader. You did a great job hosting this. Take the lead. And then Ram goes up. We don't know if Ram dies because Ram falls off the train. But it turns out Ram ends up coming back on the train in the future, and he stabs Jahns while he's about to stab me because Ram's like a great friend of mine. But before you get to that point in the movie, Ash takes over because we don't know what happens to Ram. And Ash brings us all the way up to the front. Stuckman, he seems like he doesn't have too much of personality, but he's a fighter. He watches those action movies. He comes out. Him and John Flickster tag team Ash, and Ash dies, unfortunately. It's sad. But then Rocky himself, Ryan Jacob, takes out both of them, throws Stuckman out the train, out of the window, just down into
are you sure he didn't have this planned already?
No, I didn't.
It's like he has a script right there.
I just like to improv these type of things. And then, so it's Flickster versus Rocky. We all know Rocky always comes out on top. Ryan just takes him, Bane style, like in Dark Knight Rises, breaks the Flickster's back, just like Batman, because he's basically Batman. And Ryan, the hero, is trying to save me, only in time. Ram comes back off the side of the train, snipes Jahns. Movie concludes, but there's an after-credits scene where Steve from the Lawn Gnome was planting a seed with the bigger YouTubers, and he's going to become the villain of the sequel.
Wow. Man.
Can I argue something?
Yes.
Okay. I have an argument that kind of spans both of these movies. My first argument is, why would if I am an audience who loves movie reviewers, like you said, Ram, these are people who know who these people are.
Yeah.
Why do I want to see a bunch of people who are not actors be acting in a drama movie / action movie and a straight up action heist movie? These people are personalities. They are not actors. They talk in front of a camera and talk about movies. That's why This Is the End works the best, because these are personalities and they can start to act, but they're really just playing themselves. I don't want to see Jeremy Jahns with some cape and like a fucking scar over his eye or
He's
something.
not wearing a cape. He's not that type of cartoony.
And my argument for the Snowpiercer route is, when I saw Snowpiercer, and this isn't opinion, I will just say, in that movie is confined to a train. You know what the ending is. You know they're going to get to that last train. With This Is the End idea, it is an open world. And I would not want to see Chris Stuckman acting. I've seen his intros to his reviews. He's not a very good actor.
Exactly, but he's still acting in your movie, though. And he's going to be like that boring type of personality in your movie.
Because that's who he is. That's who Chris Stuckman is.
But they're still acting in your movie.
And
It's
just
not like
what
they just
Dave-
turn on the camera. They're like, all right, let's record. It's still
And just-
acting. It's still
No, just
acting.
what Dave said.
Yeah.
That's what Dave said. Jeremy Johns is going to want to take the camera. He's going to want to have the red background, and they're going to have drama. Drama ensues. This rat-pack group of people. I'm telling you, you do not want to see like the schmoes. They're schmoes for a reason. You watch them because they're normal guys who review movies. You want to see what they're like in the apocalypse. I don't want to. I don't want to see John Flickster shaking the face of Chris Stuckman and being all facetious. It doesn't. It's not fun. It's not what a fan would want.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All their picks are awesome too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. I want you to make a last point as well.
Oh shit.
Come on, so basically what we got, okay, fine. Because you're pitching me a film, like you're saying your one's open. Chase basically gave me the rundown of his film. He gave me the whole summary of his film. Tim, you said, so you want it to follow along the same lines of this is the end in which they're playing themselves. Give me, like, how does it play out?
Sure.
Pitch it to me. And what's the end? Does a big devil thing do
No
one
devil
of
is
these
a big
YouTubers? Okay, cool. All right.
So this movie, I kind of want to adapt the intro to Walking Dead. So they're obviously all hanging out after a Comic-Con of some sort, some convention. They go to sleep. They wake up the next morning. The world has gone to shit. And it's basically, the beginning is them all interacting together because they're all friends. They're all, if you've seen on Twitter, they all know each other.
Mm-hmm.
They first start out as friends, and when they leave the house and they go exploring this desert land of just destruction and chaos, they bump into people, our group. They bump into the Blu-ray community. There is opportunities to bring in the BlueTube community, which is funny because you can start bringing in things like people. The last thing they grabbed before they left the apocalypse, who survived, they grabbed their like kimchi edition of Her, and they're still like, they still want to tell people like, yeah, it's number 45. Some people like have built armor out of steel books. It becomes like kind of like Mad Max. Essentially, there's room because in the apocalypse, there's different sections. Everyone has adapted to it differently, and we have so many different communities in this community of movies that these are four people who do reviewers, coming out and interacting with all these other people that they may not have known. So at times, like, I'll just give you an example. Let's say they bump into Dave, and Chris Stuckman is like, he doesn't know what to think because Dave grabbed his Megan Fox poster. That's the last thing he grabbed. And
Of course.
they fight over it because honestly, I mean, you saw the scene. You saw the scene, and this is the end. I'm not going to say what it is. So there are multiple situations. In terms of the ending, obviously, I don't really want to go with the route of like it's the damnation thing of like whether you go to heaven or hell.
Yeah. Okay.
I would just kind of like to end it in a little bit of a grim way. Maybe it is the end of the world, and these people who have lived like it's sad, but it's also there's comedy in it. But I don't want to. There's no fantasy element because there's nothing fantasy in our community. So why should there be fantasy? It's just the only fantasy is it's the end of the world. Maybe we don't even find out what happened. Maybe it's just all about these people and how much they all reflect on how they in this lifetime they've made a living off of being on YouTube, and that's it. It's just like a little lesson.
Holy snap! It's gonna get deep at the end. Dave.
and then it says sponsored by LinkedIn.
Sponsored by LinkedIn. Dave. Please give me a rundown of your film. Then I'm making my argument pick.
Now, the reason why I say Face Off because shit.
Was that your argument? Shit.
Oh, he might have froze on us.
Oh right.
That was a good place to
say, yeah.
Hey.
Dave.
There we go.
All right.
There we go. Sorry. All right. The reason why I say Face Off because it works so well with these two. Like Nicolas Cage is the flick pick. John Travolta is Chris Stuckman. Now, one day, he puts up videos, and all of a sudden he noticed his views again low and low and low each day, and then he sees Chris Stuckman up there. Chris Stuckman, haha, look at me, I'm Chris Stuckman. I have all these views. God damn it, and it haunts him. It gets to him each day where he can't sleep. All he hears in his voice is like, I'm Chris Stuckman, I'm better than you. And it gets to his head, and he's like, "Argh!" And then he drinks a Mountain Dew. He gets all freshed up. And he's like, there's got to be some way that I can take his spot. And it doesn't work. So he's like, I heard this program where you can transfer faces somehow. And so they like to hang out. That's what they do. He's been over his house before, so he calls him up like, hey, want to do a video? He's like, yeah, sure, man. And he comes down. Then all of a sudden, that's where he suffocates him and gets him on the ground. And then he brings him to the place, and then they transfer faces off. And then bam, and he hides them away in his closet. And then he starts doing Woo reviews, and they notice the comments are like, "Wow, Chris Stuckman, you seem different, but yeah, whatever, I'll watch." And he's like, "Wow, I'm loving this. I'm loving life." Well, I can picture. Then all of a sudden, Chris Stuckman finds a way to break out, and he needs help. So he calls up Jeremy Johns and Andre the Black Nerd. He's like, "Hey," no, this is the Flick Pick. What's going on? He's like, and he tells his middle name because that seems to be the special ingredient to knowing someone. And so he tells them his middle name. He's like, whoa, it is Chris Stuckman. And you're like, all right, they need a help. So they get together, and then they find a way to kidnap him, and they do, and they finally reprogram their faces off. But it's a struggle at the whole time. And then, he gets away, everything's resolved. Flippick's in jail for the rest of his but he gets soda. He gets yeah, I know. And I love the Flippick. I don't know, But and then the post-credit scene is all of a sudden Jimmy Johns and Andre the Giant, not Andre the Giant, Andre the Black Knight.
Andre the Giant.
Resurrecting him from the dead.
But then they're like, you know what, dude? They're like, we're best friends. Let's switch our faces off for a day. And so they do. And you get to see what it looks like. And that's my movie.